Welcome to the Mickeldale farm. Today I got my wife Alicia, two wonderful smiling little children here, Tristan and Benjamin, and they're going to give us a tour of the farm.
Alright, so we'll head out for the chicken coop first.
The chicken coop?
And we'll make our way around.
Yeah, yesterday we had a nice visit. Our Amish neighbors came over to visit us, and we got to do a quick little tour of the buggy. It was pretty cool. Our little red barn, I believe you can see that on Google Earth. It's the big bright shining star coming out of the earth. Over here on your left, this is the old pole barn we're knocking down. It had a bunch of roof damage when we moved in. So we've cleaned up all the buildings but this one. So that one we're just going to knock completely down to the ground, and then we're going to build our own pole barn. Over here is the chicken coop. We got it predator proof finally. Took a lot of the old tin off the old one, and the one hen was only laying an egg every other day or every couple of days, so we actually put an extra window in there. The neighbors told us that a lot of times if the hen's not getting the right sunlight, that she won't lay eggs.
Alright, there's our
So
chickens.
what are these boxes over here, Mom?
They're nesting boxes. This is where the hens will go and they'll lay their eggs. They usually...
Well, there's eggs in there now.
Yeah, they usually only use one of them. I think they like to
eggs
take
in
turns,
there right now.
but that's where they'll lay their eggs.
Yeah, supposedly from what we've read, it said up to 8 chickens can use one nesting box, but for whatever reason, they all like to use the same nesting box.
Yep. Right before you came in here, they were all lined up right here. And decided they didn't
Lined
want
up
to be.
across.
Yeah. They didn't want to be there anymore.
And these poles at night, they'll sleep up here on these poles. So you got to watch where the poles are positioned to make sure that they're not using the restroom in their food bowl or their water bowl. But we bought these chickens here. We had to brood them. So basically you took an egg, and then we had to put them on a heat lamp. And then once they hatch, we had to brood them in a box and control the temperature until they were old enough to come out here. And then we got the bigger hens at the exact same time. That way they won't fight. If the bigger hens would have already been out here, then we would have had to separate them until they were old enough to kind of fend for themselves.
And if you catch them at the right time, these eggs are still warm. So she just laid them.
If we got 16 chickens, Ben, and they all hatch, what do we get? 15 eggs every day, every other day? So that's like almost a dozen. Well, that's a little bit more than a dozen eggs a day if we can get them all up there. Why does the top of the feeder spin, Mom?
So they don't, when they land on there, it spins so they don't stay on there and poop in their food. Yeah, my other sweet please.
There's the water we got. We had an old metal one, but it just wasn't holding up anymore, so we went out and got a good plastic one, but holds quite a bit of water, and they seem to be happy with it. And then here, next week or two, we're going to build a run. So we're going to cut a hole out of the bottom of the floor, and we got to make sure that raccoons and stuff can't open it. And then we will put sides and a top and do probably a 12-foot by maybe an 8-foot run. That way the chickens can run outside. We were going to let them free range. Go ahead, guys. We were going to let them free range, but the female cat that we have, she works pretty good with them. But the little boys out here, they think that they're lunch, so we're going to have to build a run and make sure that the hawks can't dive bomb the chickens, or the cats and the raccoons and possums and everything can't get out here and eat our chickens. So let's go over to the barn, Mom, and look at the... We'll go through the dairy barn, even though it's a clutter right now. We had everything out here, but with the weather and stuff, we started putting some of our material that we've been saving up for the new pole barn inside the dairy barn. So we're definitely going to have to, once the area is cleaned off for the pole barn, to get this out of here and get the dairy barn back to one piece. Our friends from Oregon, they came over, they stayed almost 2 weeks with us, I believe, and he helped us to fix up our barn, him and his wife, and built the door, and she painted the whole barn for us. Here you can see that some of these are new poles we cut down, 10 to 12 foot, that's cedar wood. And then some of them were from the old pole barn. And then we got some milled lumber, and we got some tin for the roofs that we've been saving up. But that's a dairy barn. Sorry, I hope I'm not making everybody dizzy. You come through over here, you can bring 2 cows on this side and 2 cows on this side leaving, and you can milk up to 4 cows by hand by sitting in the pit. And then if you come over here, there's ropes up there. I don't know if you can see them on that back door on the pulleys. So one individual can pull those pulleys and open that door, and they can let cows back out into the field as soon as they're done milking, and they can let new ones in. So this barn here, it dates back to at least the 1930s. The house itself was supposed to be homesteaded in the late 1800s, the original house. And my great uncle, he said when he was a young kid that if you were good, you could come over here, and a teacher owned this house. And if you were good, you could come over here and, like, you know, on a Saturday or a Sunday, and you could get some ice cream. So that was back in the mid-30s. And over here, this contraption here is called a corn crib. I'm not exactly sure what it's for. I know it dries out the corn, but I don't know if it's a feeding system as well, or if it's just to dry out the corn. That one we'll have to do a little bit more research on. But we did find out finally what it was, because I thought it was a cow feeder at first, but they were more square than they were triangle. Over here's the door I was telling you about. We fixed the track on that so that can open and close. And in here, this is our pig barn. This is where the cats are sleeping. And this is for when the pigs go to have babies. This is the big section. And we are going to have to wrap this in tin to keep the draft out. So we're still working on that. But you notice that we do have little feeders and waters in here for the baby piglets. And with the Kunekune pigs, they said they would like about a foot and a half of hay in the barn. And that way when the mother rolls over, she's not killing any of the babies. This here will open them up to a field, and this will just be for the sick or injured pigs, or for any pregnant pigs that we have. And there's some of the older wood we had laying around the farm. And this is an old pig feeder. We're going to attempt to use this on our pigs, But with the way their snouts are, I'm not sure if it's going to work. So it might be decoration, or we might sell it. Where are we going now, Mother?
I think we're going to try to feed the pigs, but try to separate them, since he's kind of mean when it's feeding time, and he'll bite Nala and won't let her get near the food bin. So I think I'm going to try to see if I can separate them.
Okay.
Or feed them separately, so she at least gets the protein she needs. So when she's pregnant, or if she's pregnant, then she'll get the nutrition she needs.
The 16% protein. This here's an old freezer. This is our old freezer. It's not turned on or anything. We put it out here. We store the cattle feed and the pig feed, cat feed. And that helps keep little rodents like mice or rats or cats or anything else out. And this here, eventually the lean-to will clean everything out, but we got a weed eating here. But this one here, it's a pen we put together for when we buy new pigs or even new cattle, you know, like a baby bottle calf or something. To kind of put them on quarantine, make sure that they're not sick before we introduce them with the rest of the animals that we already have here on the farm. There's a big saw blade we got from my nephew. He found it out in the field and we bought it off of him, but eventually we're going to put a little Mickeldale farm logo on there. Not here, this is the boys' garden. We told them to go small, but they decided they had to have a huge garden. Right, boys? No, Alicia and the boys, you know, we never had a garden before. My grandparents had one when I was a young man, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years old. I really don't remember very much. And what? The water? Oh yeah, Tristan wants to show you. This is how he waters the garden. 1 second, Mom. He wants to show you this is how he waters the garden. So he turns on the garden, hoses, and we're on well water, so it's going to take a few minutes. Once those kick on, between the two of them, it'll actually water the entire garden. And my wife, you know, she's from California, and she's never been on well water before. So they had the sprinkler system on in the garden. And then she was watering the cattle on the other side of the house. So the hose went down where it was only sprinkling water, maybe 2 feet, and she thought something was broke. And I couldn't figure it out. Then I walked on the other side of the house and realized she had it on both waters. And I kind of laughed and had to explain to her why we weren't getting any water. Oh, and over here I hear some piggies. What do we got over here, Mom?
That Nala, our female.
She's on the left.
Nicholas are bored, and they're hungry, so we need to hurry up. I need somebody to hold this for me so I can get this unlocked.
And normally they're really sweet pigs. But for the last couple of days at feeding time, he has just been real ornery and biting her, and I think she's finally had her fill. And she's definitely been fighting back. So we got a second feeder. Tristan's holding this feeder here. We're going to try to attempt to separate them today and see how it goes. Let's see if we can get in here and make sure pigs don't get out. We have waters and feeders over here. Boys, make sure the gate's closed, please. But they couldn't really get into it, so we got a little kiddie swimming pool for them so they can get it in. As you can see, though, they like to make a big mess. So we're going to feed some in there.
Nala. Yeah.
Sit down for her.
I'm going to have her come over here. Nala, come
She's gonna put me in the middle, so I get. Yeah, hopefully I'm not swinging the camera around too much. Make sure you feed him good too.
I dumped half in there.
Okay. But when they eat, man, they will flip that feeder going. That one there, it's pretty light, you know. But we believe she's pregnant here. I mean, not, you know, maybe 2-3 weeks pregnant. But as soon as we put them together here, it's been a few weeks, and or she's on 16% protein. We'll show you the food here before the video's over. But we can't have over 16%, what we were told. So we finally had a special order some feed specifically for the pigs right at 16%. And this is Nick. He's usually a good guy, but like I said, he's been kind of an ornery little jerk lately when it comes to feeding time. And this water here, we're going to have to dump it and just put it somewhere else because they just can't use it the way they're built. And that red feeder over there, the way they're built, they can't use that either. Those are from the goats. And then this mud hole here, you would think it's from the pigs, but that's actually from our goats. These pigs here actually don't root, or they root only a little bit by their water dish. There's their little house over here. So that house is split into 2 sections. One for if they have babies. You can see it's kind of fenced in over there. The mother can walk out there with the babies, and then the other side, the rest of the pigs can get in there. We got 2 of those houses, and we're working on cutting these trees here, and then we'll be able to clean up a lot of this brush. Now, past the tree and the brush down there is actually a really good sized field, and that's where they run around and eat all the time. But this is Nick. What do you think, Nick? Is that good eating? I don't know if you can hear it on camera, but our dog Thor, he's starting to sound like a little hound dog when we're inside the house, or excuse me, outside the house, and he's inside. And we'll be back in a few minutes to show you the cows. Wife's grabbing the hose. We're gonna wash out their water and get it cleaned up and filled up for them. This is the field we showed you last week, stretching the fence. I got some posts up here. We were thinking about putting in a gate here, but I think we're just gonna run wire straight across, and then we'll run a small gate over there so they can go back and forth in the 2 fields. But this will be another field, possibly 2 fields, that we'll have for the Kunekunes as well. And then we have the whole front side. And as you can hear, he's over here being ornery on her food dish. And this grass here, it's really starting to grow. This here, that's been 3 weeks ago. This grass here was completely, we cut it down with the lawnmower. And you wouldn't believe, I mean, that stuff, in some places it's 2 feet tall, 1.5 feet, 2 foot tall. Yeah, the other day we were filling their water, and there's a copperhead underneath it. So you gotta kind of be careful.
Somebody's thirsty.
He'd have clean water if he didn't always think it was a swimming pool. But I mean, some of the, like the feeder, it's, I don't know, 35, 40 pounds. Like it's a heavy little metal feeder. And he'll just flip that sucker and send it flying. But the feed in the water is never where we quite left him at. And I don't know if you've ever been around other pigs before, but I've never seen pigs graze before. But the Kunekune graze just like cattle.
Oh, sorry, dude. Did I pull you off a little bit? They probably like it.
They do like it. And there's her buddy Joe.
Hey, you know, if we put some apples here, they could bob for apples.
They could. We got a pear tree. How about a bob for pears?
That'll work.
You feel better?
I feel steam.
That was slobber, not steam. Ben, go ahead and shut the water off, buddy.
It just basically just disintegrated into it.
Cord. And now we're going to walk over to the cattle. Here's a little pen we made for the dogs. The one dog, he's real good. You know, they're both inside dogs. But he'll come out and he'll play nice with all the animals. The other dog we got, we felt sorry for her. She's at my aunt's house and stayed in the backyard. And apparently she was a chicken killer. And we used to think that was kind of a joke. So we brought her over here and took her to the vet. We got her all of her shots and got her cleaned up and all prettied up. She's probably about 10 years old, and we thought she was reformed and gonna enjoy life. And she wasn't even in my house yet. She'd already killed one of the kittens and was chasing down the chickens.
It was mom's.
So now we have to keep her inside and on a tight leash. And right here is where we're going to put the other gate for the pigs so we can come in and out. And then we can still come right over here and feed all the cattle. In the bucket, bud. Yeah, you got to kind of spread it out. When the cattle run over, all the heifers and the cows, they run over. And then the bull is always the last one, but he likes to bulldoze and knock them all out of the way. So we kind of got to spread it out. We give them a little bit of grain in the morning and then in the evening.
Gotta call them over.
So
It's like the dinner bell.
come and get it.
Yeah.
I don't even see him.
They'll move if they hear me.
There they go. So they're in that backfield, but they have to run all the way down and all the way up and around. So over on that side of the farm, there's another pond over there and a bunch of big shade trees. So they like going over there when it gets hot out and kind of cool off. Come on, girls!
There they are.
I don't see you, but I can hear you. Come on! Oh, there's one.
You better go. You better get out, Cat.
So here they come.
Slowly but surely.
She just had a baby, the one in front. The second one, we call her Tegs, or Cersei Lannister. And then you got Dany, she's Daenerys. And then you got Hamburger and T-Bone.
That's depressing.
And then Lord Snow, Jon Snow. If you can't tell, we like Game of Thrones.
One of the friends' name is Khaleesi.
Yeah, Khaleesi instead of Khaleesi. We got Khaleesi. Come on, girls! But here they come. Yeah, we had 2 babies come out this year. One in October. And then the other one came out, I believe, February. It's early May now. Here they come. So all of our cows are black Angus. The red one, she's black Angus mixed with Jersey. And all the rest of them are full. But man, the red one, she was our first one. We were gonna buy bottle calves, but then we bought her. She was pregnant and she had this little cutie pie there. Well, hello, young lady. And here's John. He's a big old boy. But they're fairly friendly. We don't want to get them too friendly. But, you know, they're a good, like, 2-3 foot cow. They'll come up to you and we can rub their head and stuff. And it does seem to be working. I mean, there's still flies on them, but a lot less than there normally is. So we got the cattle oiler up. And they finally started using it correctly. It was kind of humorous trying to watch them do that. But this is the farm. So my oldest son, Tristan, he was born in California, in the Bay Area. My youngest son was born in St. Louis. My wife, she grew up in Orange County in Los Angeles area. And I drug them all out to the country. So now we're going to have high rolling hillbillies. Until next time, take care of yourselves and God bless.